Good morning, Facebook. I hope to find everybody doing well. So, I saw a video yesterday that really caught my attention. I was surprised I had never seen this clip because I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. And real quick, I'm a big firm believer on theory that he has that in this life, we only have basically 6 needs in this world. We have 6 different problems. And that is a need for certainty, a need for uncertainty, a need for love and connection, and a need for significance. Now, those 4 needs, we go through that every single day. Every single day you have decisions to make, and they stem around those 4 things. For example, we have a need to be certain that we've got a job, that we're going to be making money, that we have a car, that my mom's case, that YouTube works. We have a need, a certainty for a car working, and we can gain those 4 needs. We can gain them through good ways or bad ways, negative or positive. For example, I like to go to Wild Wings, a bar, and I go see a friend play, and I am certain that if I go, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to see some of my friends there. I'm going to see my friend play. Who knows, I might get up and sing a song. I am certain that I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to have a few drinks, and life is going to be good. I am certain of that. So I have the opportunity to gain certainty through a positive or a negative. Now, in that particular case, I would say it's a little positive, right? But then the problem comes at the end of the evening when I get a check and I've got to pay $125, $150 because of what I ate and drank. Now, is that sustainable over, 3-4 days in a row? 2 days, twice a week? Is that sustainable? No. So then that thing that we do, that negative way of doing it, is not sustainable. Therefore, it's not a good way of doing things. The second need is uncertainty. Sometimes we're so accustomed to things that, we like surprises. Now, people say, oh, I love surprises. No, you love the surprises that are good. If you wake up in the morning and you woke up late and you're rushing to go to work and then you go outside and the tire is flat, surprise! That's not a good surprise. That's not a fun surprise. So you're not going to be happy with that. Now, if you have a friend that you talk to regularly, I have a couple buddies of mine that I get together with for breakfast or what have you. I don't know exactly what we're going to talk about, but I always have a great time. So there's an uncertainty there because I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it doesn't fucking matter because we have a great time anyway. So there's an uncertainty there that it's cool to have that, right? 3, love and connection. We all have a need to feel loved. We all have a need to be connected. If you can't get love, then get a connection. Now, a connection can very simply be working out. How many of you guys work out regularly? That's a good connection that you make. You go out and walk. You will go out and call a friend. You go out and have a breakfast. I do that. So, love, connection, and the 4th one is significance. We all have a need to be significant, whether it's the number 1 guy at work, or to be significant with your significant other, significant in your children's eyes, significant in the community, as an elected official, things of that nature, right? And all those 4 qualities, or all those 4 needs, are needs that we deal with every single day to get by and live, a productive, successful life. Now, the last 2 needs are the needs of the soul, which some of us get there, some of us don't. And that is need number 5 is growth. The need to grow, the need to get better each and every day. And the last need, the 6th need, is the need to contribute to a greater cause. So you grow with each other, with your spouse, with your friends, with your coworkers, and then you contribute to the environment around you. So the last 2 needs are important because those are the needs of the soul. Those are the needs that allow you to feel a fulfilled life. How many people do you know that are successful but yet are not happy? You know? So the last two bring a fulfillment to your heart. So the video that I saw was about how you know, in order to find out what need, I mean, you can just observe somebody. I've gotten pretty good at it now to where I can just observe somebody, you know, listen to them talk, and I can pretty much gauge what need they live under. And that need is usually something that you literally don't make a decision right then and there. You repeatedly make that same decisions over and over. It becomes a pattern. You have a need that becomes a pattern. Now, Tony Robbins also says when one action fulfills three needs, it becomes a pattern, it becomes a habit. For example, being in the gang. Being in the gang, you have a connection with the other people. If you carry a gun and you rob people, how certain are you that you're important when you're pointing a gun at somebody? You're pretty certain of that. You have a love and connection. Do you feel significant when you're carrying a gun and you're with people that are, you know, thugs? Yeah, you feel significant. You feel like you're going to get shit done. So that one negative of having a gun, hanging around with thugs, being part of a gang, becomes a habit because it fulfills three different needs. So the goal is to find an action that can fulfill three needs and yet be sustainable. And you'll improve your life. So now, if in my particular case, for a long time, one of the greatest needs was significance. I needed to be significant. I needed to be a good coach. Not only a good coach, once I felt I was a good coach, I wanted to be a better coach. I wanted to be a great coach. And then it got to the point to where, you know, I had success and getting things done and what have you. And I said, no, I want to be elite. I want to be elite. I want to be really way above average. And so, as time went on and my self-esteem grew, self-confidence grew, I realized that I didn't have that need anymore. I don't need to be in the spotlight. I don't need to be the best guy. If you think you're the best guy, bring it on, bro. Let's dance. Let's find out. But I don't have that need. So what slowly but surely started changing in me was I didn't have a need for significance. I had a need for growth. I had a need for growth. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be happier the next day. I wanted to make $1 more than the next day. And then as I grew, I realized that I wanted to contribute as much as I could. And that is why I'm happy with my life, because I'm living under those two needs more than anything. And in order to, you know, and pretext to that is, you know, I need to have a connection. I need to have a loving connection. I need to have connections with my friends, with my son, with the people that, you know, I get along with and share common interests. And so if somebody has a need for certainty as their number one need, or significance as their number one need, as I did at one point, Tony Robbins says you're going to live unhappy and not a good life. You're going to be basically living in fear, living in stress, and unhappy. You just won't attain happiness if you are constantly living in certainty, the need of certainty or significance. Now let me expand on that. If you constantly have to, for example, you have a need to be certain that your car works, well, that's fine. You know, we all do. But there's some people that constantly are going to complain of, oh my, the tires aren't, completely at the correct pressure. I need to take it to get an oil change, and this window doesn't close right here, and the radio doesn't do this, and the air conditioner needs a freon, and and you're constantly complaining about the need to be certain that your car is going to be in tip-top shape. Now again, there comes a point where, you need to get an oil change. Yeah, all cars need to get an oil change. But there's some people that it becomes a need so strong that it consumes their life and what they're doing and how they think and how they function and how it makes them feel differently. Same thing goes with significance. I know a person that significance is her thing. Thing about it is that there's always somebody better than you. Always. So you have to either come to terms with the fact that somebody's better than you and accept it, therefore diminishing your significance, or saying, you know what, I'm going to keep on at it and I want to be elite, I want to be great at it, whatever. And that can work. But more times than not, the significance within you, people do not approach it in a negative way. Tony Robbins uses an example of it's a lot easier to tear down the building than to build the tallest building in town. It's a lot easier to tear down somebody and say, he's full of shit. That guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, man. He doesn't know what the hell, he's doing, whatever. How do you know? You don't. The other day, I was having a conversation with somebody, and I asked, well, how do you know? Do you know that for a fact? No, well, but they say. They say, but do they know? No, they don't know. And so, the need to be significant, to tear other people down so that you can make yourself look better is, fruitless. And so whenever somebody comes across that's going to be a little bit better than you, and you're going to feel an insecurity that's going to come out like a motherfucker, then that significance, you need to be significant, is going to constantly put you in a place of negativity. Now, the need for certainty, some people, very high achievers, have a need for certainty. And that's where they get their drive. Because they need to make sure they're at their best. They need to make sure that they're organized and things of that nature. But you can gain certainty in good ways too. So the goal about these needs are attain them through a positive method. Attain them through a positive method. And if you do that, you'll live a very successful and fulfilling life if you can get to the last two. Because if you lead a successful life and you're not fulfilled, it's all for nothing. It's all for nothing. So keep in mind, do you have a need for certainty? Do you have to control? Do you have to call, your spouse? Do you have to call your friend? Do you have to call your son at all times? Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? If you have to control, you're going to be unhappy. Because you can't even, a lot of times we can't even control ourselves, much less control somebody else. So anyway, just something to throw out at you. I hope you can gain something out of it, make you think a little bit deeper, and use that gray matter in a way that can help you live a better life. So with that, holding all the cards and a damn joker too. Bye.